Mr. Mercer. Hi. How are you doing?
I'm doing perfect, thank you.
Now, Mr. Mercer, you're engaged in a project now, and can you tell us a little bit about this project?
The project is in Costa Rica. Costa Rica, basically, I've been there since 1989. I've been in 86 countries in every state of the United States and every province of Canada prior to going to Costa Rica. I know I'll probably never make it to heaven, but I know I can touch it from there. It's the most beautiful place on the planet.
Yeah.
And what I liked about it was so many things. Number one is that they haven't had military since 1948. They're a very stable, democratic country. They don't have the hurricanes. They don't have the tornadoes. It's a very peaceful country. The president of the country won the Nobel Peace Prize. And I work with the World Wildlife Foundation, National Geographic, Audubon Society, and Greenpeace, and I was just inducted in the Environmental Hall of Fame.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about. How are you? That's really, really fascinating, because here you are, you've been a businessman all your life, and yet now all of a sudden you're starting to go into more issues that are environmental issues. Now, what got you interested in the environment? I mean, what is it that really moved you in this direction?
When I went to Costa Rica in 1989, there was an island called Garza Island. And unfortunately, the Americans and the Costa Ricans were stealing the scarlet macaw parrots. And unfortunately, in most cases, they were not just stealing them, they were selling to pet stores, and they were also killing them in some cases and selling the feathers.
Wow.
But the worst thing is, too, a lot of people were taking the turtle eggs, and as they were hatching, and they were selling them in Asia for aphrodisiacs. And a lot of people feel that they can, anything that money will purchase, they can have a pet monkey.
Right.
Well, unfortunately, the other way you can have a pet monkey is to kill the mother. The mother will fight to its death. And the mother will physically kill itself after the fact to take away the baby. So, and I took over the island many years ago and planted 5,000 almond trees.
How big is this island?
It's 26 miles around. It has 9 miles.
And you bought this island yourself?
I took it over.
Took it over?
Yes.
So you leased it or something?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And what's a 99-year
99-year lease, yes.
I won't remember when the lease is over.
I'm familiar with that, yeah. Right.
I won't remember when the lease is over anyways. But
But your grandchildren will.
Exactly. So what happened is that I planted 5,000 almond trees, which is the food of choice for the scarlet macaws, and put up feeding stations. Now I have the largest flock of parrots. I have about the most turtle eggs hatching in the country, and I have about 200 monkeys. And it's not how much money you make in your lifetime, it's what you become as a result of it. And I started finding out more and more and more about nature, and
you fell in love with nature.
Yes, you have to, sort of lead by example.
Sure.
And so I just knew that that was sort of my calling. And
like, how long ago did you realize this was your calling? Because that's a really important thing. I mean, you were a businessman all your life. For profit was your only motivation, probably.
I liked animals. I always had horses, and I always had dogs, and I was raised on a farm. Where we had a lot of different animals. So I couldn't be around when someone was killing a chicken even for food.
Right.
It was always that I was so attached to animals that the only time I've ever shot an animal was with a camera. So that was the most important thing to me.
Yeah. So the species or the animal species that you started to get involved with are more tropical species like the macaws and the turtles, and these are kind of endangered, aren't they?
And that was the whole thing. They were almost gone completely prior to myself showing up on the island. If I hadn't taken it over when I did, they'd have been totally gone.
Oh. God, that would have been really a huge loss for humanity.
And
so this is you feel your contribution to humanity, basically.
And like I say, the key is that you can only lead by example. And because of that, I've been working with other programs recently, and by doing that, I'm putting out the awareness to virtually thousands of people. But I've been working with the World Wildlife Foundation, National Geographic, Audubon Society, and Greenpeace. And working with global warming, doing some programs with children's programs to train the children from the very beginning, the value of nature, of wildlife, and also, and the most important thing is family.
Sure. There's always been this conflict, particularly in third world countries. I mean, Costa Rica is relatively wealthy, but I've traveled around quite extensively, and the problem that you see in many third world countries is this conflict between feeding their own people. You go like, for example, in Africa, and saving the environment. But what people don't realize is that you can actually save the environment, use that as a tourist attraction, like ecotourism, or seeing these animals. Many people would pay good money in rich countries to see animals that they would never see anywhere else. And if we could save it, and if we could preserve these animals for our grandchildren, great-grandchildren, what greater gift can people give to as a legacy?
Yeah, the problem is that you were saying about Africa and poorer countries.
Yeah.
The problem is that it's good to do all those things, and it's fantastic, but the poor people don't reap the benefits. And so therefore, they do those things for completely for survival. If the people that did all those things also took care of the people at the same time, they wouldn't have to do the things that they do.
Yeah, I think there's some projects now that are actually going in that direction where they're...
There are a lot of programs recently, all sorts of associations that are now... I'm just working with a group now to dig wells in Bali. And I've set the whole program up through the Rotary Club, and they're now digging the wells. But there's all sorts of technology recently that will, turn air, take the moisture out of the air and turn it into water. There's all kinds of different programs. Technology is really getting very high tech.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Mercer, for your wonderful interview.
Thank you.